Hey everybody, welcome back to Mohan Technologies. In my last video, I have shown how to create the GitHub account using the github.com. And due to the length of the video, I just cut short to creating the GitHub repository. So in this video, we'll see how to create a repository in the central repository, and we execute all these commands practically using the GitBash CLI. uh, Before this, just make sure that your system is installed the git in your local machine and also created the github account. So if not, I'll just give the video link in the description. Please do follow that and create a github account and install the github install git software in the local machine. Okay, so to execute the command, so first I will create a github repository and then make a clone of that particular repository into the my local system, and from there I'll try to add some files and I will try to push that to the local repository, like commit to the local repository and push from the local repository to the central repository, and we'll understand what happens behind the scene. Okay, so in order to make my local repository, I have created a folder called git practice. So I'll just go into this. Before that, my GitHub account, which whatever I have created, got suspended. So I am using my own personal GitHub account. So anyhow, I'll give this link in the description. You can also use that. Before that, I'll try to create one new repository using this new button. You can see here in green. I'll just use this and I'll give something called as git practice, and this repository name should be unique for your GitHub account. If you have the same repository name, then it will show something like you cannot create that. And you can give something like this. You can give the description of this repository, like I'll just give this. I'll keep it as public. If you want, if you want your repository to be in private, most of the organizations use their repository as a private because they don't want to disclose their source code to outside world, so they keep it as a private. If you want to keep your repository as a private, then you can keep. And initially we'll add readme.md file. This will add a file called me.md, so that I'll check this. And for now I'll add the git ignore, git ignore is a file, so I'll teach you what exactly happens in my upcoming videos. So by default we'll be having main as a default branch, and that's it. Just create repository. So if you could see here, see our repository is successfully created here. And if you could see here, this is the only branch that we have. This is the main branch that only we have. If you want to create a branch, then you can create like here master, and it will ask you to create new branch called as master from main, which means that from main you're taking a copy of that particular branch and creating one more branch. Okay, this is what branching called. I have given everything detailed in my YouTube channel. Please kindly visit there. And what I'll do is, like, now I'll clone this branch, okay, to my local repository, to my local system, which will create the local repository. So I'll open the GitBash and you can see here. So this is my path, that is under E drive. I have Mohan Technologies. Under that I have created one folder called as git practice. There what I'm doing is like git clone, and we need to copy the URL from the repository. The repository is here, and you can see the green color code button. From there, if you could see here, we have something called as HTTP, SSH and GitHub CLI. So initially we'll focus on this, and later point of time I can explain what exactly is this. just copy this URL by clicking on this. Now just go to your just paste it, okay, and hit the enter button. Now if you could see here, see, we have got a folder called git practice, okay. If you go inside, you can see this readme, okay. This file was existing only in the central repository here, but when we executed that command called, this is a command, that is git clone and the URL, the git repository URL. This is the syntax. I'll provide all the syntax in my description. You can copy paste for your reference, okay. So when we did this, there was a cloning happen. Cloning means the copy of the central repository will be available here. It will be available here. So that's what happened. The copy of this central repository had cloned here, which means that it just pulled a copy of a central repository, okay. So what I'll do is, like, I'll just create one normal text file here, text document. Let me say that file 1, let me see this, and I'll add this text, any text, okay. I just added this this particular line here, and I'll just tap on save and close this. Okay, we have added a file called file1, and if you could see this is our local repository, okay. How do we confirm that this is a local repository? Whenever we have a folder called .git, then this is a local repository, okay. And the central repository for this is this one. So initially, so now we have only readme.md file, but we don't have this one, the file one, whatever we have in the local repository. So what we need to do is, like, now we just need to add this file. We are saying git that, hey git, just let's before adding, let's check the status. So now let's check the difference between the now and when we cloned our repository, okay. So before that, we should see that this thing, like main or master, which branch you are into, we have to see that, okay. Here I'm able to see that I'm pointing to the main branch, which is, I'll show you here, this is the main branch that I'm using, so it is pointing to the main branch, okay, that's fine. So now let's check the status. What is the status? So we have something called as git status. So when you enter the hit button, the git is saying that, hey, this is the untracked file, the file name is file1.txt. so if you want to make this particular file part of the local repository, then you need to use a command called git add and the file name. So let's do that. Git add, then file name called git file1.txt, and just press enter. Now what happened is, like, this particular file 1 is a part of the git, okay. So let's check the status now. Git status. If you could see here now, see this particular, before we are adding the file, it was saying untracked, okay, and it was showing in red color, which means that it is not a part of git, but it exists in the local machine. But when we saw this, when after adding this particular file to the local repository, it shows in the form of green color, which means that it is part of git, but it is not yet committed, changes to be committed, which means that you have not committed the changes to the local repository. So let's commit to the local repository. The command goes like this: git commit, okay, -m, which means that message, what message you want to give for this particular commit. I will say that the first commit, commit, and I will close the colons and hit the enter button. So now if you could see, when we executed this command, we got something called as, this is a main. As we saw that main is a branch that we are working on, and this is a in short commit id. We have the commit id is 20 character long, but this is a short form, the short end of that commit id and the commit message. And you can see that one file changed and one insertion happened, like one insertion, like new file got added, and on top of that file one changes you have made. Okay, so now let's check the status of that particular git repository, the local repository. Git see status. If you could see here, now on branch main, nothing to commit, working tree is clean, which means saying that all the changes, whatever you have executed here, whatever you have executed or whatever changes that you have made, that all the changes you have been committed to the local repository. All the changes are available in the local repository, and only thing is like you just need to push to the, see it is saying use git push to publish your local commits, which means that you have the changes in the local repository and you want to make it available to all other developers or all other testers who is working on that particular git repository or the git repo which is having the project. Okay, so in order to make that, we have a command called git push. Just hit the enter button. Now it will ask for the, initially when you are doing, it will ask for the sign in. Okay, but since I have already signed in and I have multiple repositories signed in to the GitHub account, so it is asking which account I need to push to. So I am saying that this is my account, this is what this account has got suspended, and I am working on that to retrieve my account, but not sure what happens. I'm interacting with the GitHub support team, and this is what in this GitHub account I have my repository in this GitHub account. So I'll choose this and I'll provide the continue. And now if you could see now the thing is like GitHub credential manager. From this credential manager, the GitHub credentials, whatever the credentials that needs to push has been taken, and we need to concentrate on this. See, always we need to check whether we have done or not. If we did not get any done kind of response, then there is some error, it did not get pushed to the central repository. Okay, and then we need to see this, that total 3, and we need to see this to which repository it has made. It has committed to this particular repository. This is the repository URL, if you remember, that we have used initially, and this is the commit ID, and to which branch from main, which means that in our local repository the branch is main, from there to the main branch of the remote repository we have pushed. So this is all about like creating a file and pushing to the central repository. So now we have pushed this file changes to the central repository, and let's check in the GitHub whether the changes are available or not. And just go to the GitHub account and that particular repository and just refresh here, and now you will be able to see that file and the commit message that you have given, that is first commit that I have given there, and you can see that commit message here. And if you open this text file, you will be able to see, hello everyone, welcome to Mohan Technologies. That is what I have given in my local system using only the command line tool, that is the GitBash tool. I have pushed my changes to the Git repository. Okay, so this is what I wanted to teach in this video, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and please do like if you like this video and share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.